All right. Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining. Hey, Ricky, do you mind just confirming that my screen is on the sharing right now?
We've had a few questions come in. I'm seeing you and I'm hearing you.
Okay. Sorry if you're having any issues. Looks like everything's okay. So just maybe log out, log back in. I see some questions about audio and video. Okay. So just a few housekeeping items before we get started. The Q&A is open, so if you have any questions, go ahead and type them into the Q&A as they come up. We've carved out some time at the end, and I've got a little extra time beyond the presentation that we can go ahead and answer questions. Okay, awesome. Audio is working fine. Thank you for confirming. So today we're going to be joined with altE, one of our main distributors here at SimpliPhi Power. We're going to be talking a little bit. If you've taken one of my presentations, you might have heard some of this before, but we're going to be going through some basic stuff, some sales stuff, and really some new tools and some easy ways to get from the call to finalizing a system and then actually getting it sold. All right. So with that, I have myself here, Troy Daniels, Technical Service Manager. I'll be talking a lot today. We also have Ricky Sklanowski. Sorry, Ricky, messed up your last name like always. And Ricky is Application Engineer here at SimpliPhi Power. Ricky's going to be jumping in, talk a lot about the sales side of things, and a few other key points. We also have Ben, Adam, and Andrea from altE. They'll be hopping in a little bit as well as available for answering questions at the end. All right, let's go ahead and hop right in. So I'll start a little bit with company history, just to kind of give an idea of where we're at with SimpliPhi Power. So in 2010, we actually were founded as OES Energy. This was the original name of SimpliPhi Power. From there, we worked a lot with residential projects, military projects, and even emergency response. Those kind of led to product development, company growth, and then in 2013 to 2014, we actually were able to expand our product lines, offer more all-in-one products, and a bit of a more diverse range. Relaunched as SimpliPhi Power 2015, 2016. And from there, we've just been ramping up manufacturing, expanding our territory of where we actually send batteries, and continue to innovate on different products. So kind of our motto here, safe, proven, simple technology. Safe as is non-toxic, non-hazardous lithium chemistry, cobalt-free chemistry, UL certified. We'll talk a little bit more about this on the next slide, but no risk of thermal runaway. Proven technology, these numbers are probably not even accurate. This changes all the time. 40 countries, over 100 megawatt hours installed worldwide, even validated by the US Army and Marine Corps. Simple, we always try to keep things simple. No cooling, ventilation system, no thermal monitoring, no fire suppression, no maintenance. And beyond that, it's kind of ease of installation, easy to maneuver, and just a simple design. I won't bore you too much here, just kind of some of the avenues that we do reach: commercial, industrial, emergency preparedness and response, off-grid and microgrid power security, utilities and energy companies, and residential and multi-unit dwellings. So tons of different use cases, a whole variety of range, and we can really fit pretty much any use case when it comes to our variety of products. All right, with that, I'm going to go ahead and hand it off to altE. They're going to give a quick, brief company rundown of altE.
All right, thanks, Troy. Can you hear me okay?
Can. Perfect.
Great. All right, my name's Andrea, product manager here at altE, and I'm here with Ben and Adam, two of our senior technical sales reps at our company. So for those of you not familiar with altE, we've been around since 1999, over 20 years now, helping customers design systems. We're all over the globe, nationally, internationally. We're a distributor of renewable products, and we really specialize in our niche is providing free technical expertise and design assistance to all of our customers. And as we are stating here, we have two sets of customers: our retail do-it-yourselfers, which you'll see on our public website. We offer equipment and assistance for off-grid, grid-tied systems, grid-tied with battery backup. And then we also have our wholesaler base of customers that have installation businesses in which we provide products necessary for those systems. They set up for residences and small commercial businesses. And what we have is 3 warehouses now. We've expanded over the past few years. We have East Coast and West Coast, so Massachusetts, California, as well as Puerto Rico. Back in the fall of last year, altE acquired a company called Real Goods, and they're kind of the pioneer of the off-grid sector, founded in 1978. So we're really, really happy to partner with them and now have presence on both East and West Coast of the United States. We've evolved over the last 20 years, and we're thrilled to be partnering with one of our top energy storage partners, SimpliPhi. They are the experts in this business, and you know, we are the next level of expertise, and we work very closely with them to sell their batteries to our customers. We believe in their batteries, and we're really excited to present this to you today. So thank you.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Andrea. All right. So now we're going to go just kind of dive a little bit here into battery chemistry and really why we use what we use here at SimpliPhi. So this chart, if you've taken before, attended a webinar, you've seen this chart. It's really, when we think of lithium ion chemistry, we think of lithium ion as a whole and kind of lump it all together. Well, the good news is they're very different. There's different types of lithium chemistries from NMC, LCO, LFP, what we use. They're all different. There is one kind of common theme here amongst the other chemistries other than LFP, and that's really that most of them, if not all of them, contain cobalt or cobalt-based batteries. This cobalt is what really drives the thermal runaway. This is what causes that risk of seeing on the news fires catching on lithium batteries, seeming unsafe. Lithium iron phosphate, as you can see here, is the only battery out of these that is not prone to thermal runaway through the cells. Non-toxic, it's actually technically landfill safe, but you can also recycle very well. Ventilation, no requirements there, and no cooling systems or safety monitoring due to that, no chance of thermal runaway. So this also allows us to withstand some pretty high temperatures and actually use the battery in very hot situations where these other cobalt-based batteries might require some pretty stringent cooling systems. Once we've picked our chemistry, in this case lithium iron phosphate, we do need to pick a form factor, how we build out this battery. These are some main form factors here. Cylindrical, think AA battery is a cylindrical form factor. Pouch cell, really common in your laptops, your cell phones. These ones tend to have a bit of issues as far as swelling when used in larger packs. Prismatic cells definitely work really well, but they are a bit cumbersome to build with. They're kind of large, bulky building blocks, and sometimes can even be a bit more expensive. So we use a cylindrical form factor with lithium iron phosphate chemistry. The cylindrical form factor allows us to have built-in short circuit protection. And from our testing, we've just found that using the cylindrical form factor with lithium iron phosphate just gives us a longer lifespan, more efficiency, and just a better overall battery. Okay, so for those that are familiar with our company, might have been familiar with a warranty that we used to have, which was based on depth of discharge. The new warranty guidelines are 10 years unlimited cycle regardless of depth of discharge. So basically 10-year warranty. Now, I will say there is going to be situations where you want to use 80% depth of discharge versus 100%, and we can talk about that and really why, usable capacity, you might want to use less capacity out of that battery on a day-to-day basis, but I do have a slide that will go through that. But the current warranty, again, 10 years, unlimited cycles. That's a new warranty. EOL, this is something you might have heard in the warranties for lithium batteries, referred to as end of life capacity, where we rate it at 80%, meaning at that 10-year mark, you should see 80% of the battery's original capacity remaining. I encourage you to look through other different lithium companies, definitely some of these cobalt-based ones, and you'll find that EOL tends to be not very high for the end of warranty period, as well as the warranty might be lower as well. Temperature-wise, operating temperature, -4 degrees Fahrenheit to 140 degrees Fahrenheit. This means discharge, or it could be a state of standby. The more important one, charging temperature. Most batteries do need to charge, so this is typically where you're going to want to sit as far as temperature range goes for ambient, 32 degrees Fahrenheit to 120 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, as far as the high end goes, obviously, you know, when that higher end of things, 120 or even 140 as far as discharge goes, really no need for coolant, HVAC, or ventilation systems. All of our batteries come with an integrated battery management system, or BMS. While not really shouldn't be relied upon as the sole protection in the battery, programming is still required. It can do some protection level of overcurrent protection, short circuit protection, charge discharge protection. Also, one of its key features is cell balancing. It's passive cell balancing, actually bleeding off resistance on the top end, making sure that not just the single battery is nice and in balance with its cell pack, but also when you're stacking a lot of batteries, scaling up your systems, that everything stays nice and in balance. C/2, or power rating, this is not just what we rate our batteries at, it's also the max continuous discharge of our batteries. As far as the 48-volt batteries go, I will disclaimer, the 24-volt batteries are less than C/2 currently, but the 48 volts are all rated for C/2, meaning a C rate, if you don't know, is just a measure of the rate at which a battery is, in this case, charged or discharged relative to its maximum capacity. So C/2, meaning that if you have a 3.8 battery, you can discharge 1.9 kilowatts for 2 hours. You can basically discharge half the battery's capacity per hour. Now, typically C/2 is not really a nothing that you might need as far as residential systems go, but maybe a backup system, or if you do need a system that requires a lot of power, these can handle it. Now, this is not related to surge. Our batteries can actually handle 60 amps DC if we're talking about our 3.8, 48 volt, 60 amps DC at 48 volts for 10 minutes. And we'll go over that a little bit more. But this really does allow us to have relatively small battery banks that can supply a significant amount of power. Our batteries are scalable and expandable. No need for communication lines when scaling up. Both energy and power scales up as you add more batteries to the system. And we're just talking simple parallel connections. All of our standard products are parallel only, no series. So scalability, here's a great example, 88 batteries put into parallel. We really don't have a limit as far as what you can put into parallel. You might run into some wiring issues or some inverter, if you're going like 48 volt, you might see some issues with connecting, more than 4 or 8, depending on how big you want the system. 48 volt multi battery based inverters. But as far as the batteries go, they don't really care as far as scaling up. This system's 300 kilowatt hours, so pretty large. You can see they're using all sorts of combiner boxes to get this accomplished. Expandability, also a super, something I don't see a lot in other companies, but a really big advantage. The ability to actually expand, add new batteries to an old system. I think the picture is, I apologize, the picture is not correct there. It looks like the picture's got a little screwed up. But what should be there is an older system, where there's about 4 batteries, let's say, and you can actually add 4 new batteries or however many batteries you want to that system within a 3-year period is where our engineers are putting it right now, but you can actually expand the system later. This can be super helpful if you are just need to, maybe gauge a customer's power demands and it's a little bit higher than you thought, or if maybe they're expanding later on. And it's true with most lithium batteries, no maintenance. So self-contained and stable, does not require a battery box or doesn't vent or off gas, doesn't require watering, things like that. Also has a very low self-discharge rate. It's actually less than 1% per month, meaning if the battery is idle, it should not lose its capacity like you might see in a lead acid battery, and making sure that that power is still there when you need it. Okay, a little bit about our products, and I'm just going to kind of jump through these pretty quick, but these are some of our main products. These 2 batteries here, I would say, are really the main products we sell. Specifically, the 3.8 is probably the biggest seller. These come in both 24 volt and 48 volt. Again, parallel connections only on these batteries. They're modular, scalable. They can be used for drop-in lead acid replacements, but really that's, they can go well beyond that as far as use case goes. That's kind of just where they were designed for, and now they've got a wide variety of uses. Again, they each come with a BMS, battery management system, and even an integrated circuit breaker for protection. Okay. The access line, oops, sorry there. This is our all-in-one solution. Basically, we're looking at batteries, inverter charger, all built into one. A little bit easier to install. This could be for DC coupled or AC coupled, so new or existing PV arrays. It is NEMA 3R, so it is outdoor rated. They are Rule 21 compliant for those in California. And they do come in a variety of kilowatt hour ratings as far as batteries go. You can also add extra batteries to the system. We don't recommend paralleling these units side by side as far as inverters go, but if you did want to add a second cabinet with extra storage in it, we do offer that as well. So again, pre-wired, pre-programmed, might require a little bit of programming, but typically if you just pulled it out of the box, the base settings will be on there. They can also support generators and things like that. So we really have 2 access units right now that we're selling. And Ricky, maybe you can jump in here. I think the new units are going out with the Schneider XW Pros, correct?
Correct. We actually just sold through our last units of the Plus. And then also the Pro being UL 1741 SA compliant, it's going to be useful in those states that are adopting that certification and that requirement. So yes, the Pro going forward for Schneider.
Awesome. And is the Pro a little bit larger, right, than 6.8?
That I'm not sure. If it is, it's just slightly larger. It's okay. Going to be roughly the same size.
So probably about a 6.8 kilowatt.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
So in terms of capacity, yeah, it's the same. It's 6.8 kW for sure. Yeah.
Okay. So we were using the XW Plus, as Ricky just stated, though we have moved to the Pro now. Now we have sold through our Pluses. These units come AC coupled standard, so if you don't add anything on, you're looking at an AC coupled unit, just the inverter charger and the batteries. You can add an MPPT charge controller, the 600 volt Schneider charge controller. It's a really nice charge controller. Basically, we're acting as a string inverter at this point where we can run larger strings into this and go DC coupled. And our newest addition to the access line is our Solar access. So this is using solar components, the 12 kW and 8 kW, which I think we might be phasing. I believe it's mostly these 12 Ks going out. This unit's super cool. It's actually AC coupled or DC coupled no matter how you buy it. It actually comes with the charge controller, the MPPT built into the unit. It is a bit higher voltage as well, not 600, but it can still handle some high voltage strings. This unit's super cool. It can do some pretty cool functions like self-consumption and TOU, time of use. rapid shutdown compliant, which, you know, is a bit tricky of a subject there. So the other one is rapid shutdown compliant too, just depends on how you're hooking it up. And just the solar is kind of a cool inverter. Actually can be grid tied without batteries. I shouldn't say that, but it can always have batteries added on later. So this unit's a little bit larger, obviously, with 6 3.8 batteries here for the 12 kW unit. So again, AC coupled or DC coupled, both units can be either or. They do support generators. If you go with the Schneider unit, you will have to add some extra parts on to get the generator, the AGS or automatic generator start. As far as AC coupling these units, you know, I just want to mention this now. It's never a bad idea. If you are putting on an existing system, always check with the microinverter company to make sure that they do have the correct frequency profile in order to frequency shift and AC couple correctly. It's always important for, as the installer, to check on that before you install the access unit. They have built-in transfer, so you do not need to add any sort of automatic transfer switch, ATS. It sees when the grid goes down, automatically goes into island mode. If it's DC coupled, your array was already working, it never shut down. If it's AC coupled, we can bring back online those grid-tied inverters and effectively charge the battery while the grid's down. As far as monitoring goes, we're just utilizing the monitoring platforms already put forward by Schneider and SolarArc. So this is the Schneider monitoring platform. I believe it's now the web box, not the COM box. You know, just need a wireless router. We can see real-time monitoring here at the bottom. So we can see, you know, PV production, what the grids might be pulling or what the battery might be selling or the solar array, where the loads are at. We can also see historical monitoring, so we can actually manipulate this data how we want to see it as far as interval goes. It can be super helpful for troubleshooting or just seeing a customer kind of if they want to monitor where they're at, what they might be using too much of, things like that. SolarArc, really the same. Most of these platforms are very similar looking. You know, FYI, you can get most of these on your cell phone or your tablet so the customer can see them directly. But again, real-time monitoring, historical data, and this one actually even allows for wireless programming directly to the unit. Okay, we also have some of these smaller products here, the Big Jenny and the Little Jenny. These are kind of emergency power kits. They're portable power, still utilizing LFP, but they're definitely used for more of a, you know, rapid deployment. You're not going to be covering some huge loads here, but you can definitely cover some loads and even buy it with the solar panel that can fold out, charge up the unit. The Express unit. This is also an ANEMA 3R enclosure, so it is outdoor rated. It's built a little different than you might expect with the Access. This one's built a little bit more customer friendly. So we're looking at, you know, outlets here on the side, as well as USB ports for discharging the unit directly from those outlets. So no need to hardwire in. It also has an AC inlet for charging directly from the grid, and even a DC quick connect inlet for charging from PV and then disconnecting and moving on site. This unit does have the ability to be hardwired in, but it really is designed for kind of these quick connects where you could charge it up, store it in the garage or wherever you want it, and then when the power goes out, directly plug things in that you want to power. Maybe plug in a power strip and start plugging in various loads that you want to remain on without having to hardwire into a loads panel. I won't bore you here too much here, but you know, just some ideas of what it can power, and you can always run load calculations on it. But even looking at things like window AC unit, probably not very long, but even that high of things of demand can actually be met through the Express unit. But definitely things like refrigerators, you know, televisions, lights. Okay. With that, I'm going to go ahead and hand over the controls here to Ricky, and he's going to jump in with a little bit of why SimpliPhi.
Thank you, Troy, and altE, thank you for having me. All right, let's just jump right into it. And bear with me, there's a little bit of delay here when I use Troy's screen, so trying to move forward right now, so hopefully it'll move to the next slide.
Sure. Try clicking, then there you go.
Yeah, let's see. Are you able to move to the next slide? I'm trying. There we go. Oh, probably went too far ahead there. There we go. This is the first one, right? Yeah, that's the one. Okay, great. Okay, so here we are. Sorry about that. So what's being depicted here is something that happens to any battery, and that is over time, battery capacity will fade. However, if you look at our battery all the way to the left, our capacities fade at a much lower rate. Now, Troy touched on this when he was talking about our warranty. So this bears out in our warranty. So what we're going to warranty for is that, so right there at that 80% mark, after 10 years, we think you're going to have at least 80% of the capacity left, and we're going to warranty for that. So really what that means is that your PHI 3.8 battery should have a capacity of about 3.04 kilowatt hours if you're doing the math at home at the end of 10 years. And on top, that line that you see that the black line shows our 98% round trip efficiency, which I believe is best in class. I've yet to see anyone who can match that. And when we talk about all this stuff, you can't talk about all these things without talking about levelized cost of energy. And we'll get into that in one of the next couple slides coming up. All right, so our batteries can be used in a variety of applications. Peak shaving, basically this is, you typically see this with commercial type, industrial type customers where they have these instantaneous large demands that they're where they want to tap into the batteries so they don't have to pay this per kilowatt price, on their bills every month. So what we can do is, we can tap into those batteries and start using battery to really offset how much grid is being used. Time of use rates, maybe you want to, again, tap into your batteries during periods where your electric bill has the highest charge per kilowatt hour. In California, nowadays that's around 4 to 9 p.m. typically when people come home from work and start running appliances and turning on the TV, doing a load of laundry and whatnot. So again, you can tap in during those times to reduce electric bills. And then kind of along those lines, store your energy and save that PV for later. So if there's a power outage, or like we just discussed with time of use rates and peak shaving, basically that's we can maximize battery life during and charge free from the sun, and then tap into those batteries later. All right, so levelized cost of energy. So this is, I'm not going to talk about a big abstract formula here, and I'm not going to bore you with that. We did already discuss in a couple slides previous to this our round trip efficiency and how our batteries tend to hold their capacities better than others. So that, that being said, that kind of goes into this calculation here. It's part of the denominator there. But what everyone, pretty much any adult who's ever, has paid a per kilowatt hour price for on their utility bill. A lot of people live off grid now and don't have to do that, which is great. But everyone understands the concept of paying an amount per kilowatt hour. And that's essentially what we're trying to do here, or try to show here with the levelized cost of energy. It's very typical for people to be, or potential customers to be only concerned with that numerator there, the price. However, that's a real small portion of it. The upfront cost is really what that numerator is, the price. So what this formula really shows us is what is the cost of every kilowatt hour I can get out of this system. And then you can see there in the gray box, there's other, kind of these hidden costs that occur with, using our competitors. Like a big one is weight. So you see it there. That adds shipping costs. That might mean you need a larger construction support. You need to dedicate a whole battery bank room in your home, or build a structure for it of some sort. So yeah, so as you can see, there's all these kinds of hidden costs that aren't immediately obvious when you choose a competitor. So we take all the guesswork out for you. We do have a fancy new calculator. We have a few calculators on our website. This is one of the newer ones, and I'll show you how to use it. You don't have to use this formula, you know, and do it longhand. You can just go right here on our website. It's under the support menu of our website if you're trying to find it at home. There you see the formula again. And we can, you know, one thing I want to do, demonstrate for you, is a question that I get really frequently, and I'm sure the team at altE does too, is, yeah, the upfront cost is just too expensive for lithium, for your batteries. You know, I can get a lead acid battery for nowhere near that cost. Well, what I'm about to show you is that in actuality, lead acids are almost always a lot more expensive. So I'm just going to put in some very simple inputs, the most common inputs that people typically use, you know, with our batteries. So I'm going to use the full retail rate for our batteries. This is from altE's website. Now, incidentally, our prices did just go down. So it might be a good time to check with call up your sales rep pretty soon and see if you can start getting new quotes on our batteries. So but nevertheless, this is the current retail rate that I'm going to show here. Typical is 80%. So again, I'm just going to put in all the typical inputs. So there's that 3.04 number, 80% depth of discharge. And what we're showing here in the purple at the bottom is that levelized cost of energy for our battery is a little less than 9 cents. So I'm going to compare it to lead acid. I'm again going to use, I'm not going to mention the name of the competitor, but I will say that it is a very popular VRLA battery, and it is sold. I'm getting these numbers from altE. It's on the altE website. So it's a flooded lead acid. The cost is only $403. It's actually a little more than that, but I'll just put it 403. The voltage rating per battery is 6. The amp hour rating, now it says here to use the 2-hour amp rating, but a lot of lead acids can't be hit that hard. So I'm actually going to throw them a bone right here, and I'm going to use their 10-hour rate. So the only thing you should know about that is that I'm actually giving them more capacity than I should. Certainly, this is more capacity than the battery would be getting at a C/2 rate. And I will go all the way up to 50, pretty typical. And as you can see here, it's actually quite a bit more expensive to choose lead acid, about 31 cents compared to about 9 cents. So again, just play around with it at home. You know, so this was part of the information gap that we sometimes see with customers, is that they're only focused on the upfront cost, when in reality, you've got to be thinking about the lifetime of the full life cycle of that battery, and not to mention the maintenance that can go into a flooded lead acid battery as well. So I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint, if I can do that, Troy. I'm not sure if you can take the controls for a second and just get there. Great. Okay, so next slide. Okay, so this is one of the things that really differentiates us in the marketplace, is that we have simple installation with less restrictions. So I got a question in the chat earlier, for example, what is the maximum size battery bank that you can build with your PHI batteries? And the real answer is that we on our end don't impose any limits. You could build it, you know, as big as you can imagine. Really, the biggest system I know of has 88 batteries in parallel. So you can customize, or tailor a battery bank to whatever project you need. And we can install indoors, we can install outdoors. You'll notice in every single picture here, the batteries are spaced right next to one another. There is no spacing essentially. No ventilation requirements. And you can add batteries over time, which is a huge advantage. So we talked about upfront cost. You know, Troy will get into battery sizing a little bit later. There is a minimum that you should install on every system. There's always going to be a minimum. But really, if you want to, the customer should never feel that they have to overextend themselves by being super exact and finding the exact right amount of batteries, because you can add batteries later with our system, which is pretty unique. A really great addition to our website. These videos here, I'm not going to show any of these videos, but Troy, my colleague Brandon, and myself, we have videos showing how-tos and how simple it is to actually install these. Sometimes it can look pretty daunting, but in actuality, it's really simple. And another thing I'm really happy to show here is our BOSS cabinet. It's called the BOSS, the Battery-Only Storage System. You're seeing the 12 battery variety here. We also have a 6 battery option. And if you need to, these could actually be paralleled out. So if you want to do, say, 12 batteries, you could put 12 and gang them together. You probably want to look at some ampacity, requirements if you're going to do stuff like that. But nevertheless, you can. It is feasible. And we just started selling these. altE definitely can help you with a quote for them if you need any sort of battery storage. All right, and battery sizing, perfect transition.
Awesome. Thank you, Ricky. All right, I'm going to go ahead and just take the controls back here. Sorry, everyone. All right. Awesome. So let's go through a little bit of battery sizing and a little bit of installation. Now, this is really basic, high-level stuff here. For some more advanced trainings, I do have those that should be coming back on the website soon here, as well as some workshops upcoming to go really dive deep into battery sizing, system design, and installation. This is really the kind of basic stuff here. So again, I mentioned earlier, while it is a 10-year unlimited warranty, it does make sense in certain situations to use a certain depth of discharge versus other depths of discharge. So let's say you're off grid. You probably need to use as many cycles as possible. That battery is going to have a lot of wear and tear on it. And most off-grid customers really do want to see maximum lifespan of the battery. They want to make sure that it's going to last a while and they get a really good return on their battery. That's where it makes sense to do 80% depth of discharge. Maximize that battery's life well beyond the warranty period. Now, if it's a backup system, you probably have a little bit more leniency on maybe 90 or 100% depth of discharge. I kind of try to steer clear of 100% in general. It just kind of puts a lot of wear on the battery. Now, 90% off, for battery backup makes a lot of sense to me. You're not discharging daily by any means. You might be, discharging the battery or using a cycle once every week or month or even less than that. So just depending on your mode of operation, there definitely is reasons to use less of the battery's usable capacity versus more, just depending on how long that customer really expects that battery to last. But it is still a 10-year period no matter what. All right, Ricky mentioned this a little bit. The minimum amount of batteries, super important. If you're building out a system, the battery should be sized to twice the inverter's output capability. So example of that being, this is a Radian 8,000 watt inverter. So that's the output of the inverter. We want to make sure that we have at minimal 16 kilowatt hours of battery capacity on that system. That way it falls into the C/2 guidelines and you'll never over discharge the max continuous discharge of those batteries. If you undersize it, it's a gamble. I've seen it before where sometimes it works, loads are minimum. And then I've seen situations where customers, they come back, they add in loads without you knowing, You know, as the installer, you did everything right, but the customer came and added a lot of loads or things like that and over discharged the battery and not covered under warranty. So just be sure to follow this minimum. It's in all of our integration guides, all of our warranties, all of our installation manuals. Even actually goes into, now we have a chart that shows specific inverter models and just what the minimum quantity of batteries is for that inverter model. Okay, got a little brief section here on lead acid replacement. I think it's a pretty key part of the business that we kind of strive for. We definitely see a lot of lead acid replacements in the field with our batteries. And, you know, I know that's a big seller of our distributors as well. So why does it make sense to replace a lead acid battery? As Ricky showed right there, greater LCOE, mostly due to its longer lifespan, more usable energy, which is higher energy availability, you know, 80 to 100% depth of discharge, versus maybe 30 or 50 with a lead acid, higher power availability. So either that, you know, high surge rate or that C/2 max continuous rate. You can pull a lot more out of these batteries. No maintenance and non-toxic. So similar to Ricky showing the LCOE calculator, I'm really not going to bore you too much with this math here. You know, this is just showing what we have as far as, you know, if we have a lead acid battery, let's say a 450 amp hour, 48 volt AGM at 50% depth of discharge, and we're replacing with with a SimpliPhi battery, it just kind of goes through the math here. Why I'm not going to show you that or get too deep into that is we actually have a calculator that now can help with this. So if you follow along here, this is our lead acid battery bank replacement calculator, really kind of taking the guess and check work out. So let's just make it easy on myself here. Mostly this might be, you know, a value of, well, I guess we can do it. 4, we'll say 6. Let's say 180 amp hours. So that's the current lead acid bank, 6 volt batteries, 180 amp hours, it looks like rounded down. 4 of those 6 volt cells. So 24 volt battery. Let's say they're using 50% depth of discharge. So these numbers have been calculated for us. And then we're picking the battery that we want to replace with. So since this is a 24 volt system, we're assuming the inverter is already 24 volts. So we would say we want, let's say in this case, we want the 3.8 24 volt. That's the battery you want to go with. So we can actually see here that it actually rounds it out, there are 2 batteries. So maybe this actually doesn't make sense. Maybe we can even go with this one. Oh, it's still calculated to 2. But basically, you know, we can mess around with these numbers. If you've got lead acid battery banks, I mean, even if it's a 1,000 amp hour battery bank that you're trying to replace, see, that one makes a lot more sense here. So, you know, the 3.8 24 volt, we would need 4 of those to replace that bank, or 5 of the 2.9s. And you can kind of see how far off the rounded number is to decide which of these models is going to make the most sense. And really which one's going to kind of get you really close to the exact number of batteries you need. You can also download the lead acid replacement guide. I will show you this briefly, but this is super important. Hey, I see a few hands raised. We can't answer questions live, but if you do have a question, go ahead and just type into that Q&A section. This is a super helpful tool. I won't bore you with it. It goes through benefits. It goes through reprogramming. It goes through basically every little piece that you would need to understand when replacing a lead acid battery bank, what is required. If the inverter, if the charge controller is compatible, it really is a really helpful resource. So I definitely recommend checking this out on your own time. But it can be found at the bottom of the calculator. All right. So now I am actually going to pull up the altE sizing. This is the load calculation tool when sizing a battery bank or sizing even a PV system, whatever it may be, we often need to do load calculations, especially when off-grid. altE has a great tool. I'm going to go ahead and hand over the controls to Adam here from altE, and he's going to hop in and show us his calculator.
Thank you. Yeah, so when you're sizing, especially for an off-grid system, you can certainly call us and we're happy to go through the system design with you. But what is really helpful is if you know your loads ahead of time, and it's never a instantaneous process. There's always going to be a lot of thinking about the day. But what I typically have people do is they'll go through their daily loads, and if you punch them in here, so let's say, for example, you were going to use a washing machine. Not sure if the loads are going to type through here or not. Oh, actually, now they are. So a lot of the information you're looking for can be found in like Energy Star guides, you know, especially if you're looking at like a new refrigerator, if you go down to Best Buy, Home Depot, what have you, and you pull up the Energy Star rating, it'll tell you roughly how many kilowatt hours are being used per year for a load. And then you can divide that by 365 if you're going off grid, and it gives you a rough idea of how much power you need. And this is just a really handy tool of being able to put all those loads in one place so you get a final number. And so in the case of a washing machine, typically washing machines use about 1,000 watts per hour while they're running. So if I was to say, okay, well, we've got one washing machine and it's going to pull 1,000 watts, but my actual load of laundry only takes 45 minutes, you can see that it kind of gives you a lot of the math that you need. And you can just kind of add loads as you go. And you say, okay, well, I have more than 3 loads in my house. So you're just going to add as you go. And once you get that final number, so let's say we did all the calculations and the final number comes out to be, say, 15 kilowatt hours a day. Well, that gives us an excellent starting point to be able to design the rest of the system. This is right on our website. If you go under the very top there, the green bar where it says resources, and then there's a section that says calculators, and then the load calculator is right there. You can also see a lot of our videos and all that. But I'm going to hand the phone back at this point.
Awesome. Thank you, Adam. All right. I'm going to go ahead and take back controls here. Let's take a look. All right. Yeah, super helpful tool. You know, I've done load calculations by hand when I was an installer, and it's not as fun as somebody that's been around as long as altE, knows how to do load calculations, sells these systems based on these load calculations. It can really help you out as far as taking out the guess and check work and keeping everything organized. Now, when you have that load calculation done, we've got another tool here that's super helpful, and that is the battery bank sizing estimator. Now, if you're going altE, they probably can do this for you, but if you're kind of just looking around and you want to get an idea for a customer really quick about what they might need based on those load calcs, we can do that. So let's say we got a load calculation of 14 kilowatt hours per day as the daily consumption. Let's say we only need 1 day of autonomy, meaning how long do we want that battery to last under the assumption that there's no PV and the battery is the only source of power and source of energy that there is. So let's say we were using a 48 volt battery. Again, this is our consumption for 1 day, and the system voltage is 48 volts. It'll spit out all these numbers for you. You can mess around with this. You know, if maybe you are going to use this for backup, you can change the depth of discharge to 90%. It'll automatically populate at 80%. Gives you some cool numbers. Amp hour rating, just calculate it out. For the output, for the battery bank capacity, usable battery bank capacity, and again, let's say we go 90%, that goes up. Or if we do 100%, that goes up. So we can kind of mess around there. And then really the important number here is it gives you the amount of batteries based on that number here. Now, you know, you call the experts, you either call us, you call altE, and you start talking about these calculations that can help you out. Maybe, you know, maybe there is room for a little less batteries, more PV, or even more batteries and various, you know, there's definitely a little bit of change. I wouldn't rely on this calculator solely, but it is definitely a great starting point. or how many batteries are required in the system based on this kilowatt hours per day calculation. So we worked really hard. I think we all have worked very hard on, on all these tools. So utilize them as much as you can. Let us know if there's any feedback on them ever. We're happy to adjust as needed. And just my favorite little lead acid replacement picture here, older lead acid system, lots of corrosion. They look to be flooded cells in a battery box, likely require watering, vent fan, and replaced with about a fourth of the size, maybe a third, somewhere in between there. Much smaller battery bank, actually has more power and energy available in this smaller battery bank than this larger lead acid. Cleaner install, wall mounted, everything looks a little nicer. Okay, so really quick, I'm gonna go through very basic installation, and then we're gonna jump through questions here. So again, if you have any questions that you have had on your mind, go ahead and type them in to that Q&A, and we're gonna get to those shortly. If you're looking for documentation, manual, spec sheets, integration guides, you can find all of that under product documentation page. I would say integration guides are the most key as far as installing, and we'll go through a little bit of that here coming up. Shipping and receiving, this is what you would expect to see. This is how the batteries come in this box here. Each battery has its own box. Check the battery for damage. We can't claim on shipping once it's left our facility, so you need to make sure it's not damaged when you receive it. And really just, keep an eye on that battery. I don't ever sign for anything if it looks like it might have been damaged. As far as clearance requirements and mounting, Ricky talked on this a bit. We can actually put the batteries nice and flush up against each other. It's great. There's really no clearance requirements. Obviously you don't want the leads touching, but as far as the batteries being up against each other, it's no problem. Don't stack them on top of each other. It's just too much weight on the batteries, and if something was to happen, it's really not going to be good for anybody. We have brackets that we actually we use specifically for the SimpliPhi battery. You can see them here in this picture. Not a requirement for mounting, but definitely the easiest way to mount them since they are specifically made for the batteries. But I see all sorts of ways as far as putting these batteries in racks, battery boxes, and even orientation-wise. The only thing we do not allow is for these battery leads here to be facing down. We did allow for a little while there, but now we do not allow for that. I can actually push down on the power electronics, and over time might cause damage. You can put them on their sides though. You can even mount them on their sides. Okay, as far as wiring goes, I mentioned this already, parallel connections only. Now, a little different than you might be used to. We're not jumping from battery post to battery post here. We're using same length, same size wires that are each running up to a common connection point, whether that's battery combiner box if you're building a bigger system, maybe the provided power panel if you have a Schneider or let's say Outback or something like that, and it's got a few spots on the power panel DC bus, or even the inverter connection point. But again, each has its own individual run up to a common connection point, both positive and negative, same length, same size wires. This allows the power to distribute evenly amongst the bank, discharge evenly, charge evenly, and get that higher efficiency rate. Okay, I mentioned integration guides. This is a little bit out of an integration guide here on the right. I think this is the Schneider XW Plus integration guide. These are the most helpful tools when installing a battery. You need to reprogram the system, whether it's a new system, a lead acid replacement, an AC coupled system. They all require programming to fit into the warranty. These integration guides basically take the exact language that you might see in, let's say, Schneider, Outback, Magnum, Morningstar, whatever it may be, the inverter company, the charger company, and it gives you the exact set points to use. It might give you things like absorb and bulk, float, low battery cutout, high battery cutout, max charge amps, even some more advanced functions like cell or automatic generator start triggers. So, wide variety of these on our website. I think there's like 10 of them now, most of the main inverter and charger brands. If you come across one that's not on there, let us know. We can look through the settings. We can write you up a quick kind of, hey, these are the settings to use, or we can even add it to our integration page if it's getting asked for enough. As far as inverter charger integration goes, these are some of the big ones we work with, and definitely not all of the ones that we work with, and we're pretty agnostic, but you know, Outback Power, Morningstar, Magnum, Solark, Schneider, Victron, Midnight. These are all some pretty big brands that, you know, are tried and true with our batteries. I know altE carries all of these brands ready for integration. Okay. I know that was kind of quick and brief. I just want to make sure we have enough time for questions. I did want to talk very quickly about our new warranty registration. If you are one of our installers already or about to be one, make sure to start registering your warranties online now. You can find this under support, and there's a big bolded out link right here, warranty registration. It allows you just to type all the information in directly to this, saves in our system, so that we can quickly reference based on serial number, customer name, things like that. Really is going to save a lot of time if you ever need to troubleshoot or just make sure to reference your warranty. And very last, I want to talk quickly about our IQ certification program. This is our installer qualification program. Not a requirement by any means to install our batteries, but it definitely has its benefits. You know, installing 2 batteries, finalizing the test, and a few other kind of quick, easy requirements get you IQ certified, attending a training also. Once that's all done, you can get a nice little swag pack here with some hoodies, shirts, water bottles. A better looking hat than that are now going out per my request, and even some pretty cool gear. The big thing though about becoming certified is you end up on our where to buy page. So I will search this. So we have IQ installers only. You can see we've actually kind of redone it at this point so that we've had people take tests now. So the test is a requirement. So we still have some people that are recertifying, but you'll show up as a little, little link here. Here's Voltage River. You can see that when maybe if a customer is on the website, or even if our distributor is searching for an installer in the area, you'll come up as that installer and be shown as somebody that we trust to install our batteries. So again, not a requirement, but definitely a lot of added benefit to becoming IQ certified. Again, if you're looking for that, under support, training, IQ installer qualification, and at the bottom here is an application to fill out. All right. I'm going to go ahead and pop the Q&A open, see what questions we have. Looks like we only have a couple questions, so please, if you have questions, now's the time. Go ahead and type them right into that Q&A section, and we can start going through them.
Yeah,
when did the new warranty?
You answered a bunch of questions already too. altE, there's a couple of questions there about price. If you could take those, I think that would be helpful. But otherwise, yeah, everyone, please feel free to ask away.
Where is the price
right.
questions,
So
Ricky? I'm not seeing those.
Me either.
Oh, okay. I see a question in there from Jan. We are in fire zone. Can I get help with the cost of the battery? Not sure, Jan, if you want to elaborate on where you're located. Maybe we can get the right altE technical sales rep from your area to contact you.
Yeah, we can wait for a response from Jan there. But we'll make sure to get your contact info over at altE. I see a question about the new warranty. When did that start? So new warranty really was just implemented now. I think maybe a month ago, but it is technically the new warranty for the unlimited cycles, 10 years. Again, not really a big difference. It's more about the wording. But again, depending on your mode of operation, you really want to use certain depth of discharge versus other depth of discharge. Awesome. They're right here in your hometown, Ricky, Ventura, California, northwest of the city.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, certainly
Awesome.
we can have one of our sales reps work with you, Jan, in pricing out a system, because we know that's a vulnerable area there.
All right. Any prerequisite qualifications for becoming a certified installer? Again, yeah, so as far as installing our batteries, we do not require any prerequisite. As far as that program goes, the requisite for as far as like electrician or PV installer is just can you install energy storage within your local jurisdiction. It's all different. Every local jurisdiction is a little different. So if you can get permitted and you can get legal installs through, you are okay to go. All right, so let me just clear these out here. Do you have authorized distributors in Nigeria? Ricky, I'm not sure, or if altE, I don't know if that's within your scope of shipping and receiving.
Yes, we ship all over.
Awesome. Well, there you go. I would say talk to altE. They can probably help you out there. Okay. Let's see what else. Okay. Ooh, good question. Is the PHI 3.8 compatible with a 19-year-old Trace SW4024? Float mode can't be turned off. Can it be set at the same level as recommended for charge controllers? I really don't recommend floating when it comes to AC power. Now, if it's an off-grid with the SW, you're probably okay. So if it's on-grid and does have some sort of grid use or even generator that might go through it, you probably want to upgrade it. Honestly, 19 years ago, lithium batteries were not even a thing, or at least if they were, they weren't being utilized in any sort of way related to these inverters. So never a bad idea to upgrade, but you know, if you absolutely want to look into it, definitely contact us and we can make sure the settings work okay. Bought 2 batteries in 2006, but just installed them 3 months ago. When does the warranty date start? Warranty date actually does start, Ricky, maybe you know this one actually. I believe it's the day they are received, correct?
The day it's purchased, from my understanding.
Day it's purchased, that's it. Okay. If an install is going to be expanded upon, do all the batteries need to be fully charged at the time of the battery being added? Yeah, kind of. So basically, we actually have a guide on how to do this when you're expanding a battery bank, but you do want to make sure that they are as close to the voltage as possible as you add them in, and then bring all the batteries up as one. But most of the time, they can balance out on the top end when adding in new batteries. Does the PHI 3.8 handle partial state of charge without degradation? So let's say 7 to 10 days at, say, 50% DOD. Yeah, absolutely. No degradation there that we're aware of or have tested for or seen in tests, I should say. Those batteries, I mean, while obviously most batteries do want to see a higher state of charge just for, you know, heavy loads and things like that, it's not like a battery that sees memory, so it doesn't, you know, if you leave it at 50%, that's not the new 100%. Somebody's not heard back from me. Apologies. Who should I contact? Me. I am a little bit behind, I admit, on these IQ installer qualifications, but I will take a look here this week and get some more done. Do you have vehicle applications? Transportation drive power. Ricky, correct me if I'm wrong, I've never seen anything that's actually powering a motor. So we definitely have lots of mobile power, but not motor power.
Yeah, so I'm going to say sort of, because I have seen some hobbyists do like buggies, and I have seen them on golf carts, retrofitted golf carts. You want to be sort of, I mean, I'm not sure if that's your question, but we definitely have not seen them in any sort of roadworthy sort of vehicle. You know, anything that would, you know, get registered by the DMV. So if that's your question.
Awesome. Okay, some more questions coming in, lots more. What is the lead time for purchasing 8 3.8 and 8 wall mount holders? I'll hand that to altE.
We are always in stock. Well, we always are trying to stay in stock with our SimpliPhi batteries because we have high demand for them. So certainly we are currently in stock. So you place the order today, it'll probably be shipped out tomorrow.
Awesome. And Ricky, do you want to add anything on that one, just regarding manufacturing and availability of the batteries versus maybe other companies?
Yeah, actually, I'm glad you brought that up. So we, I'm not going to reference the competition, but suffice to say that it's been a problem in our space where manufacturers can't get out equipment in a timely manner, can't get out batteries in a timely manner. That is not the case with us. Don't take it from me. I would actually ask altE as well. We ship out really quick, usually within a couple weeks. Usually there are times when we do get real busy, but it's never like the 1-year delays that you can see with other manufacturers. It's almost always around 2 weeks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
The availability is never extreme. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. All right. On the Express, could it remain plugged in and would it still allow solar power to provide power? Was thinking of using it in a telecom system. Yeah, you would probably want to hardwire it all in at that point. That's probably more of a hardwired system. Depending on the size, though, you might even want to go with the access there. But definitely, I could see no problem with using, hardwired in PV array with the Express unit. The access uses Schneider equipment. Is there a reason you chose them over Outback Power? It varies depending on, we've definitely gone through the gamut of different manufacturers, but for really no reason beyond just kind of limiting our product line for the use of our own techs more than anything. When we have an access unit, it means our techs need to basically understand all components of that unit, including inverter charger. So not expanding too far out is never a bad idea. On the IQ certification program, do the installations need to be verified by a current installer? I think I get what that means. You don't have to, no other installer has to verify for you. We just have to verify with you how those installs went and pictures and things like that. Okay, so parallel directly to combiner box or inverter, or can we use bus bars? And where can we get the bus bars? I've never been able to get them. Okay, I will say absolutely good point. I didn't mention that. You can absolutely use battery terminal bus bars, and then you can have connections coming out of those. I would actually say it's probably the most efficient way to wire a battery. We actually use those in our access units and in the boss cabinet. As far as availability goes, I'm not really sure. altE, do you have an area where you can get bus bars? Awesome.
Yep, we have some bus bars, 600, 1000 amp rated, as well as Midnight has a new lithium combiner. So yeah, visit our website to see the different options. I think we have them as add-ons too to your products.
Yeah, and we recently started selling them too. Everybody, we have, you saw them pictured, if you can recall, in when I was showing the boss cabinets, we sell not only the bus bars, but wiring kits as well. So yeah, if you can, either from altE or from SimpliPhi through altE, we can sell you those.
Awesome. All right, there's 4 more. I'll try to get through these. I know we're a little over time. Let's see what we can get done. Kudos to altE. We'll just get rid of that one, but thank you. altE, you're doing well, is what they say. Article about Tesla using LFP for their cars in China. Is this the same LFP or something new? I don't know. I haven't seen that article yet, but I have a funny feeling that might not be a real article as far as Tesla using LFP chemistry. Unless, Ricky, unless you know anything about Tesla's LFP in China.
I heard a little bit about that, but I don't know any details. I did hear something. There's a few companies, I think, that are looking at LFP right now.
because it makes sense. That's the point.
Mm-hmm.
The safest, cleanest technology. Is SMA Sunny Island okay to use? If you are going to use that, contact us first. We will need to add some extra components on. Basically, it's called the Gila Edge, and it's a communication port between the batteries and the inverter. It's the only way the SMA is going to work efficiently. So please, if you're using the Sunny Island, give our either tech line or pre-sales line a call, and we can walk you through what you need. All right, that looks like all of the questions. I just want to give a big thanks to altE for joining us and being our best distributor there ever could be. And I want to appreciate everybody else that joined today.
Thank you, SimpliPhi, and everybody for joining. We look forward to working with everyone.
Awesome. We'll be sending out some follow-up here with the video and the recording probably either at the end of this week or next week. And you can go ahead and respond directly for altE, inquiries about sales, or questions generally for us. Just let us know. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.